face and start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of tower, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares on the best part of my day.
The goods from the woods.
Hot damn!
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
Pat Riley.
Mr. Goodnight, man of the hour, tower power, too sweet of a sour, make your back crack, make your liver quiver, Jack.
And live from New York, it's our guest.
Robbie Goodwin, it's Saturday night. Hello.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
We're not new.
All we need is the saxophone music.
Rivers Langley. Pat Riley.
I'm so sad that guy's gone. You know?
Doesn't Bill Rock do it now?
No, they got Daryl Hammond who does it now, which is why he can be on the show whenever they need Trump or Clinton to
proudest, the proudest son of Melbourne, Florida.
Daryl Hammond? No, he's from Dothan, Alabama.
No, he's from Melbourne, Florida.
Are we going to fight right now?
No, I mean,
look it
even
up.
if he's from Dothan, he's probably still
Look
the
on the
proudest son
wiki.
from
He might
Melbourne.
have been born in Dothan, but he grew up in Melbourne, Florida.
Well, because I watched his
There's very few things that Melbourne, Florida is known for outside of, you know.
Daryl Hammond.
Yeah, it's like
Jim Morrison and Daryl Hammond.
Jim Morrison, Daryl Hammond.
Jim Morrison is from
Welcome
there?
to Melbourne, Florida. Daryl Hammond was born here.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
That guy that smoked bath salts and tried to, you know,
Eat a
consummate
face?
Oh,
it
that guy was
with
from Melbourne?
with a tree.
Yeah, but those guys are always from somewheres in Florida.
Oh, he is from Melbourne. Hot damn.
Thank you.
man.
But he says in his, I used to watch it. He had
He
that.
went to Brevard Community College. I taught there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
He had that Comedy Central half hour, and I just remember being so proud because he was like, "I'm from Dothan, Alabama."
Ooh.
I was like,
Even
Creative
he doesn't-
license.
Even he don't want to admit the Melbourne thing.
I was gonna say, yeah, he'd
Yeah.
rather have a peanut festival than a bath salt festival
Heyo.
Yeah. It's true.
because that's what Dothan's known for.
There's nothing better than the
peanut
bath
festival?
it's
Peanut festival.
Yeah, there's nothing better than the art and bath salts festival.
yeah, they
Yeah.
Come, try bath salts from all over
Slightly
the
stupid
world.
plays every year,
slightly stupid.
and usually there's a Sublime cover band.
And they elect
That's
one.
not.
That's not slightly stupid.
If you open up a Bed Bath and Beyond in Melbourne, you're going to get a completely different kind of clientele than you might expect.
Yeah.
Bed, bath salts, and beyond, I would
Yeah.
say.
That's yeah.
You don't even want to know what the Beyond is.
I've said that for years.
Bed Batman and Beyond.
Bed,
Remember
bat,
that one?
and man yond. I've had a lot of coffee. There's gonna be a lot of 2 out of 10 riffs for me tonight.
yeah.
That's okay.
But hey, I'm still hopped up from last night. Man, we drank a lot of bad coffee last night.
Yeah, indeed.
So,
Oh my
Why? What
God.
happened last night?
We went
They
to-
were giving away coffee, so we were drinking it.
That makes sense. Why do you?
Well, we
have a lot
paid
of that?
$5 for the stage time. Not at Marty's.
yeah, not at Marty's.
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, it was a Fanatic Salon.
Yeah, we expected
Oh,
a
I've
return
been
on our
there.
investment.
Yeah.
You know, so we drank all the coffee we could.
That place is like an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. It
really
I mean?
was.
It's like
It was.
I'd been in that building before in this weird Halloween party I ended up at a few months ago, but they weren't giving away coffee at that one.
Before we get into talking about SNL, I did have one pressing issue. My mom was in town last week, and my mom's an antique dealer. That's her job. So I was trying to think of cool places that she might enjoy. And somebody hit me to the jibe on this one. If you Google Museum of the San Fernando Valley and hit the Google images, it shows you this huge warehouse where there's all these old refurbished neon signs and 57 Chevys and just all this cool shit. And it's some guy's passion project. And it's come to find out it's only open one day a week.
Wow.
It's on Saturdays out in Northridge.
the heart of the valley.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, heart of the valley. So I was like, oh, I want to go check this out, right? And since mom's into antiques and shit, I was like, she's going to love it. So we get in the car, we go all the way out to Northridge, and it turns out that there's a difference between the Museum of the San Fernando Valley and the place that we actually wanted to go, which is called the Museum of San Fernando Valley Relics. So if you just Google that phrase, you get the Relics Museum, but that's what you want to see, but we don't know that. So we show up at this kind of very bland office building. It's 2 stories. It's very small. It's in the middle of Northridge. And I'm just like, this is not the right place. You cannot fit a fucking car in this building. And we walk inside and there's just one elevator and it has the little thing where it says suite 104, suite 204, and it was suite 204,
Yeah.
the San Fernando Valley Museum. And we go upstairs and it's not, we were in the wrong place. And it was this basically 2 offices that had been combined together. And there was a bunch of stuff, little factoids and information about the valley stuck up on the wall. It was this very small museum. As soon as we
no.
walked in, this woman immediately like stands up out of her chair. She goes, "Oh, hi!" And she goes, "How did you find us?"
Wow.
That was the first thing out of her fucking mouth. She was like, "I'm Jackie. How did you find us?"
This is a front, she just told you.
Well, you told her, well, actually, we were looking for something else.
Well, that's what I said. I was like, we were looking for the place with the cars and the signs. She goes, "Oh, that's the Museum of Valley Relics. They're not open today."
They've been hiding out in this office
Wait.
building from the Church of Scientology
So was it
for
a
many
real-
years.
Yeah,
Was it a real museum?
it was, but it was just different from what I was looking for, which was actually awesome. This was the boring museum of the San Fernando Valley.
What is it then? Who goes there? Why do they open?
It's from the city, like from one of the cities. I guess the city of Northridge or like the city of Los Angeles.
Oh, so it's just a waste of government money.
Yeah, it's straight up away. And
this woman who worked there, though, is she from the Valley?
yeah, I imagine so. I got her card around here somewhere. Her name is Jackie, and
Was
there,
David Dorward working there?
Well, did she do all that like, you know, the Valley? They talk like gag me with a spoon and all this stuff, right?
she didn't sound like that. But there was this other. It was her. There were two people there. It was her, and then the other guy's name was Michael. She goes. She was like, "Oh well, you know, I know you guys came to the wrong museum, but we have like a small tour. Michael's actually better at giving the tour. Michael, we have some people here." And Michael like rolls out with his rolly chair and turns around and goes, "Oh, hi." And he goes to stand up. And as soon as he stood up, he threw his back out. So he's standing up and he's
Didn't
just like,
see you there. Oh,
like literally, he goes, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And he stands up. He's like, "Oh."
Like Kevin Nash.
Right. But instead of just, sitting back
Note
down.
the adjective, throw.
Right. But instead of just like sitting back down, he's still standing and he's trying to give the tour.
Yeah.
But he's in incredible pain. So he's talking to he's talking to me and my mom, and he's just going, the San Fernando Valley was first explored by the Spanish in the early 1600s, and he takes a
Maybe we
knee.
should get Jackie out
He
here.
took a fucking knee, literally, like in
Did,
the middle of it, because he was just in so much. And I didn't have the heart to be like, "Listen, dude, I don't give a shit. We want to leave too." But yeah, the whole museum.
This is the most pitiful thing I've
Dude,
ever heard.
it
I'm
was-
just imagining him delivering like the tour, like James Brown at the Tammy show, where he just like falls to a knee and somebody like puts a cape over him
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah.
stands up. He's like, "No,
No.
I got to talk about these neon signs that don't exist."
Get out of my way, Bobby Bird. We're doing this shit.
The funniest thing is if the place is so lowly attended, and he's like, "Finally, my big moment."
No, that was it.
and he's like, "Oh no!"
Oh, God damn it.
Is he Gil
when-
from The Simpsons?
Well, no, when you
Oh,
don't
finally.
practice enough, like that, you can get them injuries and everything,
That's-
especially if you want steroids
Yeah,
or
that's
something.
like a museum rust, I think they call that.
Yeah.
You don't get to stand up enough. But he tried to give the tour, and the whole museum, all right, here are the exhibits. One was a bunch of Eames chairs.
Nice.
The designer Eames lived in the Valley, apparently. So they had some Eames chairs.
Nice.
They had a Westmore makeup collection, which just to me appeared to be very normal makeup pieces just in a showcase, and on the wall it said, "The Westmore family is to makeup what the Barrymore family is to acting," which didn't do anything for me. I was
So
like,
they were
I'm
big a long time ago.
yeah, they were fading relevancy.
A Honda Civic Jay Leno rode in once.
Yeah, it was.
This sounds
Kevin
like it was.
Eubanks was in the museum.
What sounds like ordinary objects, furniture and cosmetics.
It was no, and then my favorite part was, and Michael was still trying to give this part of the tour, and he was just like, in the 1940s, I forgot the guy's name, but he was like, some so and so brought thoroughbred horses to the valley. They were trying to be the new Kentucky, and
Jesus.
trying to raise the thoroughbred horses. It didn't work, but this is an exact model of the old horse stables that are still located down the street. And they've done this in other towns. They did this in Auburn, like maybe 15 years ago, where they gave a bunch of like tiger sculptures to different artists. And the idea is that everybody paints whatever they want to on it, and then they get glaze the whole thing and mount it.
They have
throughout
stuff
the
like that
town.
here. You know, you see those creepy like angel
Yes.
statues.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's the angel ones here. There's one like at the farmer's market, the travel angel, shit like that.
There's a few around here.
There's the
Just on
guitars
the west
on,
side. There's one on Sepivita.
Yeah.
The Sunset Strip,
That's
where it's
right.
like the Cheech-a-Chong guitar.
Yeah.
There's
the-
Andy Dick.
The black
Yeah.
eye.
Eddie Dick guitar. It's just a mountain of cocaine.
It's just
This is my guitar. Oops, it's heroin.
it's just him sitting and doing heroin on the Black Eyed Peas guitar.
As he strums along to sexual assault allegations.
But they
I grabbed someone's ass in '94.
This was
It's whimsical sexual assault.
I was gonna say, oh shit! That'll be my defense in
There's
court.
sexual assault and Andy Dicks. It's a whole different category under the law. Actually, Jerry Brown passed a bill.
the saddest little thing though is they were trying to do that in the valley with horses because
Sexual assault.
no, they're trying to give horse sculptures to people, but to get them to paint them, and then they're going to mount them everywhere else, put them on the street corners and stuff. But they only have one finished, and it's in the museum, and it's there. And so Michael's just going, actually, I think Jackie gave this part because she's like, oh yeah, we've got the plan is right now as you can see, we only have one horse finished. We started this project back in 2011. I was like, you've been doing this shit for fucking 5 years and you've only got one goddamn horse done. But she was like, yeah, so we're waiting on the others. But when it's all said and done, we're gonna have 85 horses spread out throughout the valley.
We should get one of these horses.
And Michael, who at this point has sat back down, understandably, just shoots out from across the room and he's like, we're probably only gonna have like 30. So Michael just immediately tamped down her expectations. And then as we were leaving, both of them independently explained why their cell phone numbers were on their business cards. Like Michael handed me a business card and he goes, he's like, this is my business card, and you'll see I have my cell phone number on here, and the reason is because this museum is only open 2 days a week. So if you need to get in touch with me, I was like, oh, okay, thank you.
You should call him up and see if his back's better.
Yeah, I probably
What
should.
if they both wanted to fuck you?
Shoot him a text. I mean, probably. They're probably so tired of fucking each other under the horses. That's all they do there. I was like,
That sounds like a dream job to me. That's probably why his back hurt.
Yeah,
Michael, by the way, if you're out there, number one, I'm giving you the thumbs up because you're smart.
Yeah, this sounds like the
And I
beginning.
hope your back's better.
It sounds like the beginning of my romance novel, Van Nuys Days, Burbank Nights.
Oh my God.
This museum sounds like the museum equivalent of that show.
That's the name of the episode. Van Nuys Days, Burbank Nights.
Yeah.
Have you guys
baby.
ever seen that show on
Glendale
KCET? Things that aren't here anymore.
I
It
love
sounds
that.
like the
It's not
museum
Hugh Hauser, right?
No,
No,
because
no.
on KCET they play only three things. They play Huell Hauser,
Yeah.
and the various Huell Hauser side projects.
Oh, howdy.
That is amazing.
That is are these rocks?
I've never been to Encinitas before.
Will you believe it? I saw a dog eating an avocado.
Wow, a raccoon in La Cañada. What? This is amazing.
Why do they call it Flint Ridge? There was one that I saw where he went to a sauerkraut factory. And he's just like, and this is how you make the sauerkraut. And then it's just like, the kids are there, and they skipped school because Huell Hauser was coming.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I can't believe you skipped school to see me. You guys are regular Cabbage Patch Kids.
Imagine Huell Hauser having sex. Wow.
This is amazing.
I've never done this before.
And the end of it was him eating an entire meal consisting of nothing but a sauerkraut and pickles. So there's a Huell Hauser side project.
Do they do a
There's-
whole episode where he's on the toilet after that?
There's Rick Steves Europe.
Huell After Dark.
There's Rick
Good thing it's
Steves
not on
Europe.
Smell-O-Vision.
And then there's things that aren't here anymore.
They show Rick Steves.
Yeah, they do share Rick Steves.
Yeah.
But there's things that aren't here anymore. Have you seen this, Robbie?
It's on
This
public
is-
TV here in
It's
LA.
on KCET.
Yeah.
Whenever they play it with the same telethon that they used when it debuted in 1994.
Yeah, the guy who hosts the show, by the way, has been dead since the Clinton administration.
And
they're still running this.
And they
fucker.
talk about it.
The ladies love him.
Yeah, but no, it's like they filmed it right after he passed away. So it's like they talked about him with this incredible reverence.
Yeah.
Like he was like this demigod of Los Angeles broadcast television.
Yeah.
But the things that aren't here anymore, it's a show literally about
man.
things in LA that are not here
that
anymore.
they've knocked down.
And then there's a
Like, oh, down at the Brown Derby.
Yeah, but stuff like that's a lot of fun. You tell me you wouldn't watch one for?
I've
I've watched them both.
Oh,
There used to be a Longs, Drugs, and Van Nuys.
There was a Lucky's in Northridge.
let
The earthquake came and
Old
it's not
things.
here anymore.
This used to be a Safeway.
An entire episode about things CVS replaced.
Yeah, but there's
Used to be a Rite Aid.
but there's
Your Medimart.
there's things that aren't here. There's things that aren't here anymore. And the sequel, more things that aren't here anymore.
Oh my God, it was so popular.
Yeah.
and the third one, nope, still gone.
Yeah, but there's the thing is
It ain't
that
coming back.
they show photos and videos of all this stuff, but they have these interviews with these elderly people that were there when those things weren't there anymore.
Yeah.
Yep, this was
And
a
these,
CVS.
but they're like these older people, and some of them are just like out to lunch, you know, just
Yeah.
scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
And there's one woman that was talking about going to the first McDonald's in San Bernardino.
Yeah.
And it's the best line ever. She goes, "You would come from the burgers, you would get the fries. Sometimes you would get the chocolate shake. You'd want the chocolate shake. Wow. But otherwise, you would get water.
Oh my god.
Otherwise, you would get water."
Wow.
Frugal. You know, them old people are frugal.
I was going to say, and she's old at that point. So that
Yeah.
was 97, 98. So she's very dead.
Local LA is just the funniest shit to me.
Yeah.
Like,
And every time he talks about something, he's just like, and that's something that isn't here anymore.
Yeah. No, you're right. I've seen the show, and I've seen the show because as I've mentioned, I do, you know, I'm a tour guide, and little fun fact, not everybody knows, the farmers market, 3rd and Fairfax, has a tour guide lounge where just the bus drivers are allowed to go
For
up.
real.
They have air conditioning and TV that is always either Judge Judy, football, or things that aren't here anymore. That's what's always
Because
on.
there's
That sounds pretty good. Can you smoke weed up there too?
You probably could.
Because it is California.
Yeah. We all get drug tested because we have to drive for a living. But,
fuck it.
Oh yeah.
So
that's-
probably
that's
Up the
rough.
lounge,
you'd probably
bro.
get, you know, if you were.
What happens in the lounge doesn't count.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of whores in there.
That's tour,
I mean,
that's tour
any-
guide code. Okay?
Yeah, any sort of employee lounge is essentially Amsterdam.
I just like the idea of like a tour guide who like forgot all of his notes, just like watching it, just like sweatily taking notes. Like, god damn it, what's not here anymore?
things that aren't here anymore.
Do they ask you for stuff that's not here a lot, Rivers, or not here anymore a lot?
No, I give it to him.
Do they ask where?
There's a lot of confidence. I give it to them.
give it to
What
him.
goes on with these
I
tour
let them
guides?
know where Schwab's Pharmacy is in
There's
case
shit,
they want to
listen,
be stars.
listen, man. When it comes to touring, there's shit people want to know, and there's shit people gotta know. You understand?
You're the Bill Hicks of tour guides,
Believe
right?
that.
Guys, open your third eye.
Yeah, open
Squeegee
your
that
fucking
third eye.
third eye, and see that the Brown Derby is now a pyology.
Look, everyone thinks the Hollywood sign. They all think it's a sign. It's letters.
It's the letters, and no, you think it spells out Hollywood, guys, and then it spells out fucking Satan.
Spells out. Jay Leno sucks.
Too bad you can't see the visual of that.
Yeah, that was a great.
If you thought it sounded good.
By the way, if you listen to
Johnny
one of the funniest things about listening to Bill Hicks's stand up is how dated it is, because it's just like, man, this guy really hates Tony Danza.
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
Yeah.
Because he was excellent on Taxi.
Yeah, they should have they should really.
He was.
Yeah.
He was better than Andy Kaufman, who was never the best part of Taxi. I want to point that out.
Andy
Thank you very much.
Andy Kaufman, by
that
the
was
way.
annoying.
Andy Kaufman, by the way. Back to our topic on the first episode of Saturday Night Live.
There you go, full circle.
Boom, we did it.
Who was the musical guest?
The musical guest? The
Paul
host.
Simon.
The host. No,
was Paul Simon?
Paul Simon was the host.
No,
yeah.
no,
It was,
no.
Carlin,
no,
right?
no.
Carlin.
The host was George Carlin. The featured act was Andy Kaufman, and the musical guest was Janice Ian.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right.
Boom! Society's child. Suck my dick.
Yeah.
The funniest thing too is that was back when the host like just did a set of stand up. Like he didn't
Yeah.
really. Carlin isn't in any sketches.
No,
really
he's
from
in-
that first.
Well,
episode.
in the early days, didn't it have a little bit of a variety show?
Oh, yeah,
aspect
Yeah,
to
it totally
it?
did. It was
Yeah.
less a comedy show, more just like them looking cool and like kind of posturing a little bit.
Right,
like,
right.
And then it was also like the sketches were there was a lot less sketches and they were like a lot more under rehearsed for some reason.
Oh,
It was like
totally, yeah.
super like bare bones kind of.
Yeah. Well,
And they would have weird hosts like Ralph Nader hosts. An
Ralph
episode.
Nader hosted.
Yeah, he hosted an episode in the
the
first. or
monologue
second
was just
season.
about seatbelts.
The
Yeah.
teen girls went wild. Like they're all
And the-
waiting outside.
We've got a
like-
great guest tonight. Duran is here.
Look, when Ralph Nader's hosting, there's not a dry seat in the house.
Yeah, I know. It's just like he has just a few bits about seatbelts, a few bitlets about his lazy eye, and that's about it.
And then he brought on
And then musical guest.
Kaja Gugu.
No, I think the musical guest might have been Gil Scott Heron, which is even
What?
more weird.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That's
so wait,
awesome.
So it's Ralph Nader and then Whitey's on the moon.
Yeah.
After
No, Gil
second
Scott.
segment.
Who
Yeah,
will
I think
survive in America?
Yeah.
I have no clue what the Christ that is.
Gil Scott Heron, he did
No.
the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised.
Who will survive in
He's a
America?
musical guest.
With
that
Whitey
guy.
on the
Yeah,
moon.
he's like proto hip hop. He
Yeah, and he
mainly
did-
worked in
and he-
jazz, but
yeah,
he
did
spoke,
jazz
he did
songs.
poetry
Yeah,
over jazz.
under like jazzy beats and
Yeah.
stuff. Who can say SNL's gone downhill when the successor is Trump and Sia?
Yeah, I know.
Wow, what an
God.
amazing show! I've watched that
Well,
monologue
being
like 50
live,
times.
it's always been kind of dated because you remember every time there's an election, you remember they did like when Gore and whoever the hell was Bush was
for
running.
sure. Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything was ironclad lockbox.
Yeah.
the next
Right.
week.
But that shit was classic.
That
Yeah.
gets to my first favorite SNL sketch. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was from the '92 Democratic primaries, and it was Jerry Brown, Paul Zongas, and Bill Clinton. And I believe it was the debut of the Phil Hartman, Bill Clinton.
Oh, nice.
Was it when he goes in the McDonald's and
No, it's when they were campaigning at a
Yeah.
Star Trek convention.
Oh, I don't think I've
This
seen
one
that.
is so amazing because it's all three of them doing speeches to Trekkies in order to get them to vote.
Yeah.
So Jerry Brown, I believe, is played by Dana Carvey.
nice.
And
Where'd
he's
that guy
basically,
go?
yeah, I know, and basically, master of disguise.
Oh, I
really.
meant Jerry Brown.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Also Dana Carvey.
they're both doing sets at the West Side.
Yeah,
From time to
except
time.
one of them is a governor. Dana Carvey, obviously. But so when he does Jerry Brown, he basically mixes up Star Trek and Star Wars,
Yeah.
and it's just ingenious because they have like Chris Farley and Mike Myers and all them
Yeah.
as Trekkies, so they're like heckling him from them.
Right.
So that one's really good, and then the Paul
great.
Tsongas one is amazing. It's Al Franken as Paul Tsongas.
Oh, cool.
Who was a senator from Massachusetts, and he was like really nerdy, and he's just like, I want to be your Captain Kirk, but I can't be Captain Kirk.
Okay, but I was, the first candidate to carry around the Star Trek lunchbox. Okay? Okay? Now, when Jerry Brown talks about Star Trek, what he forgets is that I wrote a book. Okay? A book. And it's here. It's a book. It's here. It's the Insider's Guide to Star Trek, written by Paul Tsongas. Okay? With an introduction by DeForest Kelley. Okay? So, read the book. Okay? And you decide, who is the candidate, who's one of you. I say it's me.
and then the Bill Clinton one is amazing too because he's just like, listen, guys, I've never seen Star Trek before. I've never seen it. I don't understand you people.
As I've explained, Star Trek was on during a very difficult time in my marriage. But since then, Hillary and I have worked things out, and we've managed to see most of the episodes in syndication. I've made no secret about that. Yes, you have a question?
Yes, Governor, what is your reaction to the news that Leonard Nimoy has endorsed Senator Tsongas?
What?
You know that the announcement that Leonard Nimoy is backing Senator Tsongas.
Well, that is a new low in backstabbing. After all his talk about integrity, it's just a cheap actor stunt. And he's no better than Shatner. He's no better than Shatner.
And he just like goes nuts and starts destroying the podium with his bare hand.
That's
because
great.
apparently at that time he wasn't Lothario Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
He was the Incredible Hulk Bill Clinton.
This is before everybody read the Paula Jones tell-alls. And shit.
Yeah, and Jennifer Flowers. But definitely, I think that the best thing about Saturday Night Live, you could attest to it, especially Robbie, is that like there are like sketches that like were just one-offs.
Yeah.
That just kind of fall into the ether.
Yeah,
that are just
totally.
so amazing that
Yeah.
people don't.
Oh, my favorite of all time is the Tales of Fraud and Malfeasance and Railroad Hiring Practices. Have you ever seen this one?
No, I don't think so.
1994, George Clooney is hosting, and it was
Mike McKinney, right?
It's Mark McKinney,
Yeah.
George Clooney, and then briefly Kevin Nealon at the end. They're the only people in the sketch.
Oh, yeah.
It was written by Jack Handy,
Ooh.
and it's the weirdest. It's like my favorite sketch because it's so fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
Basically, George Clooney is trying to hire Mark McKinney to work on the railroad, and he's just asking him a series of escalatingly weird questions.
Do you think that you could drive a train over a cliff and live?
Yes, sir. I think I could.
Would you be willing to relocate to the Midwest?
Oh, I love the Midwest.
Would you just go somewhere we told you and wait there until we contacted you again?
Well, that is no problem, sir.
Even if you didn't hear from us for years?
Hey, if that's what the job calls for.
Do you smoke?
No, sir.
Would you?
Sure, I could do that.
Would you smoke a lot?
As much as you need, sir.
Are you familiar with ants?
I've seen them in the movies.
Would you be willing to let ants bite you?
Yep. Yep, I think I could do that.
So how many ants would you let bite you?
As many as it takes, sir.
Would you be willing to change your religion?
Beg pardon?
You're a Christian, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Would you be willing to renounce Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior for this job? And he just keeps saying yes. And then at the end, Kevin Nealon busts in and he goes, "Wait, who the hell are you?" And George Clooney jumps out the window. It's the fucking great.
That's actually Jesse Thorne's favorite SNL sketches.
From Sound of Young America guy, dude. It's fucking amazing. And I remember seeing it because I caught SNL like most people in our age range, in reruns on Comedy Central.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
and I just remember seeing that one because the best
in your age range, I watched best of original cast SNL on Nick at Night. That's how I saw it.
I fell asleep to Gilda Radner.
Yeah. But the best part about that was, and it definitely compared to like the Netflix bullshit version, is they would show the musical guest too, and they would show the whole fucking episode.
Yeah.
So that was always great. And
yeah, that was awesome. I miss when they would do that in like Conan too. They used to show like old Conans.
That was fantastic.
That was awesome.
They only did that briefly, but it was great.
That was like the best time of my life. Just like watching those. I peaked very small.
Yeah,
I got a very small peak.
They don't rerun stuff like that ever?
No, not anymore.
See, that's why you got to tape them.
Yeah,
because Comedy Central's doing really well now. But that's like my one note is bring back
old
90s
SNL, because it was very
SNL.
I mean, I feel like it was influential to so many people I know.
Oh, totally.
That are in comedy. It's like that's the time that we all know.
Because like they just released an SNL app, and I'm just going through all like as Pat said, like all these like old ones that fell into the ether completely. Yeah. Like there's this one. This is far from my favorite cast, but this sketch, if you haven't seen it, is so funny. It's called it was a Jimmy Fallon and Horatio Sands sketch with Alec Baldwin. It's called Plate Boy and Cup Boy. And it's kind of a throwback to like the Sandler Farley, like just stupid sketch. It's
I haven't seen it, but I already love it.
It's Alec Baldwin, and they're at a pizza shop, and then Chris Parnell comes in. He's like, "Can I get a pizza?" And he's like, yes, here you go. And he just gives him a slice of pizza. And he's like, "Can I get it on a plate?" And he goes, "Oh, God. Plate boy, get in here." And then Jimmy Fallon comes in with a huge Italian mustache. He's like, "Yes, boss." And he's like, "Plate boy, get me a plate." And then Plate's like, "Okay." And he's so nervous, he picks up a stack of plates and goes, and drops all the plates. It's so funny.
Is he also just doing Adam Sandler?
He's kind of doing Sandler a little bit, but it's so stupid. It's just like these guys, Plate Boy and Cup Boy, and neither of them can pick up a plate or a cup. Like they're just so bad at it. It's a really funny, obscure one.
That's always the one, because they show the weird one like right before the last, like the ending.
They call it the 10 to 1, like because it usually comes on right before 1 a.m. And that's always the writer's favorite usually.
Well, yeah, because that was always because when I would watch those episodes, you're like, who put this on? Like, it's great, but also like, it's so weird.
My favorite 10 to 1 was, or one of my favorites was also Will Ferrell as the angry boss. Have you guys seen this one? Mm-hmm. He's like the angriest boss of all. Like, he seems nice. It's Pierce Brosnan and Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell's like, "Well, I'm a stickler, and we have a lot of things around here." And then someone comes, just like, "Oh, here's the TPS report, whatever." And he goes, "All right, why don't you shove this up your ass? Why don't you shove this up?" And it just escalates to him like killing a guy with a trident. It's like super, super.
Which became a recurring motif later. In his career.
Yeah. That's right. He used it in Anchorman.
The trident.
What, he kills people with tridents?
Steve Carell's character kills somebody with a trident in Anchorman, which I think will.
Is that a spoiler?
You haven't seen Anchorman?
No, I don't watch that stuff.
So we know 12 years. We know what Will Ferrell's favorite gladiator type is. He likes the net man.
Yeah. So
the Phoenician.
I saw a little.
Will Ferrell.
Wasn't that the Thracian?
No, the Thracian. I thought the Thracian had a small shield and a small like sword, like kind of like a large dagger, because he had more mobility.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was
all
four
like
types.
You know your gladiators, Pat. You're really
damn,
good.
what are you?
man.
Well, this was
Take
all
it easy,
National
Julius
Junior
Caesar.
Classical League.
More like
champion.
Commodus, really.
Well, this was all explained on Sting's episode from 1997.
Sting was on this show in 1997?
No.
I was like, shit, I must have taken a lot of drugs. I don't remember that.
Saturday Night Live.
Steve Bordenstein or
No. no.
Can we get him on here?
I mean, shit.
What's that? He won't injure himself doing this.
Hey guys, it's me, Sting. What does Sting sound like? I don't know. I was trying to do like a comedy bang.
The wrestler Sting?
I don't know.
What is the other
Desert
thing?
Road
Sting?
Sting.
Oh wait.
Desert Road.
All right, you guys are big wrestling fans, right? I know Rivers is at least. I have a friend who I've never watched wrestling in my life, but my friend is so into wrestling.
Oh, you should come here and watch WrestleMania. It's going to be a horrible show.
And you should also stay away from your friend because people like that are really annoying if you don't watch wrestling.
Yeah, he's forced me to watch 3 pay-per-views in a row.
Oh, great.
I like, and it's like, I wish I was more, I mean, but it's just like, it's crazy, the WrestleMania stuff. I was thinking, it's like, he's just geeking out over so much stuff. And I'm like, man, I wish I was into something that through so much fan service. Like, he's like, oh my God. I'm like, what? And he's like, this guy's a wrestler from France and they didn't know if he would be in here today. And I'm like, well, I mean, damn, dog. Like, and then I'm like, and then I get excited too. I'm like, wow, he's from France and they didn't know if he'd be there. Wait, why? He's just another guy to me.
Actually, watch me crack the whip now. Do you find they ever do anything like that on SNL?
What's that?
Do you find they ever do anything like that on SNL? The fan service?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like when they bring in like Tina Fey to do Palin, like this month, for like not a great sketch, but or anytime they bring in a celebrity.
So you know how he feels to mark out just for a different
I'm
thing.
not complaining. I think it's sweet.
Dude,
I think it's tight. I mean, I literally, I wasn't, I was saying, I wish I was into this because I love those moments of geeky fan
But don't
service
you
like
get,
that.
but I'm saying you get it off the SNL, right?
Oh, a little bit, yeah,
so
for
see,
sure.
everybody has their drug.
Yeah. Oh no, the one
totally.
I mean, I'm a big SNL fan and I'm a big wrestling fan, and I had just recently the thing I popped for really big on SNL was fucking getting Larry David to come out as Bernie Sanders because it was
that was great.
It was almost a perfect kind of bookend to getting Tina Fey to come out as Sarah Palin because the whole thing was like she burst onto the national scene and everybody's first reaction was, oh, she looks like Tina Fey. And then when SNL came back that fall, here she is.
Yeah.
Sort of the same thing. Like that joke had been floating around that like, oh, Bernie Sanders is like Larry David. And then God damn it, if he wasn't on that season premiere. And I was like, fuck yeah. Like,
but it really shows that SNL dropped the ball not hiring James Adomian ever.
No, that's
I think
fair.
the problem is, I mean, it's always been kind of the problem, like the double-edged sword with SNL is like they don't have any old guys. Like I think that's like their biggest. Like Phil Hartman was so great because he could play the dad in sketches, or he could play Bill Clinton.
I almost feel the guy that was the guy from the guy that was Lenny on Laverne and Shirley.
Oh yeah, they got Lenny on.
Michael McKean,
and he was like the oldest cast member ever.
Well, they brought him in to replace Phil Hartman, basically. I think, and then he was not bad actually. He had a funny Howard Stern impression.
That guy's really good.
Oh, Michael McKean,
he was great on Laverne and Shirley.
But it's such nobody remembers that he was on he was a big part of SNL for like a couple years.
I mean, obviously Spinal Tap is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
A Mighty Wind is one of my favorite movies ever.
He's a really good comedian. He's had a long career.
And I'll submit, and it's relevant again because they brought the series back. But if you have access to Netflix and you can watch all the X-Files episodes, his episode of X-Files called Dreamland is fucking amazing because him and David Duchovny, he's like an FBI agent, and him and David Duchovny switch spots, and they do this little mirror dance that is fucking hilarious.
Wasn't he a semi-regular or something on that show?
On X-Files?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Remember when Quentin Tarantino was on Alias?
No,
he was on it for like an arc and directed one.
I didn't. I just remember in the mid '90s, when Jackie Brown came out, they let him direct an episode of Late Night with David Letterman.
Yeah, he did a Kimmel too, I think.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because you're watching Alias, and I haven't watched in a while, but when I was a kid, when I was in high school, I loved it. And there's like a reality Alias is very dark and dramatic, and then all of a sudden Tarantino appears. He's like,
in it.
Hey, guess what? I'm the director of the CIA or something, and it's like
I'm the
this
CIA
completely
director.
takes me out. Yeah. Yeah, it completely takes you out of it because he's just hey, how's it? It's me. I'm in the movie now. You know,
I moved CIA headquarters to Torrance.
I'm trying to figure this out because there was this one SNL where somebody did Quentin Tarantino. I forgot who it was.
Norm.
Yeah, and he was just like, here's the thing, guys. I have a really big head.
Yeah.
My head is gigantic.
Yeah, that's
my head is the head that came up with Marcellus, or what did he say?
Yeah. And it's a really big head.
That's Norm's best impression. It was a great impression.
Walter Cronkite, screen test, the GIMP, take one.
Well, Mr. Tarantino, before we begin, let me say that a number of things are bothering me here.
Okay, Walter, your character, is the GIMP, okay? Now, what you have to remember about your character is that he's kept in a trunk, all right, in the basement of some guy's house, okay? And he's used for deviant, hardcore gay sex, okay?
Let's do it.
Norm Macdonald, who, except for SNL, would not be ever known for impressions.
No, yeah,
has
totally.
Some of my favorite, like his Burt Reynolds,
Yes,
obviously
it's the best.
is barely an impression, but it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I'm Burt Reynolds.
That one, his Tarantino was great.
Yeah.
And then of course Bob Dole.
Yeah, Bob Dole. Yeah, he was like, he did a lot of the cold open.
Yeah.
Funniest is when you go on like Howard Stern, he'd be like, it was Bob Dole once, and they keep trying to make me be in this shit sketch because I'm the only one that can do him.
But I love it.
You're right,
'cause
Rivers.
there's like just straight stand-ups that get kind of squeezed into that role of having to do impressions and weird stuff. And it's brilliant.
Who knows if Spade or Sandler would have ever written a sketch in their life if they weren't forced to when they're on SNL.
Yeah.
Or-
Shit, maybe they shouldn't have made Sandler do it.
I was gonna shit on Spade, but yeah, we
we can shit on either of them. It's fine with me.
I mean, really,
Sandler-
the biggest culprit is Rob Schneider. I mean, we can't let.
Yeah,
him
actually,
go.
let's all.
Was he Deuce Bigelow?
He was Deuce Bigelow.
All right, look, let me say something. It's called redundancy, Rob Schneider. Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo. All gigolos are inherently male, so that is just redundant, you moron.
A rare blight on the Schneider legacy. It's funny because I downloaded a torrent of like seasons 16 to 29, like the 90, like all because some beautiful person ripped them all on VHS, like so.
With
it's all
the music acts and stuff?
all the music acts.
Ooh, I
and
might have to snag that from you.
Martin Lawrence's original unedited monologue.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I have that on my computer.
Oh my god!
I love the disclaimer when they
That's the funniest.
Yeah, when they rebroadcast it, it's so ridiculous.
What was it?
We're
I mean, I know what
basically-
happened, but what was the disclaimer?
It's like
Well, let's talk about what happened.
What happened?
Hell,
I don't know. I've never
well,
seen this.
Robbie, maybe explain what happened.
So Martin Lawrence goes. So the thing is on SNL. First of all, you have to keep to 5 minutes. Like apparently Louis C.K. was on recently, and Lorne Michaels like, you could shave 2 minutes off for that. Like Louis C.K.
Yeah.
So you have to keep it short. A and B. It's live, so you can't go too dirty
For the monologue.
Martin Lawrence. So he does his monologue that's approved, and he goes like, you know what, y'all? They didn't want me to say this, but I'm gonna. Some of you ladies aren't washing downstairs, and then does like a 2-minute long like bit about douching, and he keeps saying douche, douche, douche. You gotta douche your vagina. Like, super duper dirty.
My favorite was the ending of the monologue where it's like,
We got a great show for you tonight, because I'm here. That's right. I'm here. Crash test dummies are here. So, we'll be back. Hang on. We gonna be back. We gonna do our thing.
remove shirts and conducts martial arts moves.
Yeah, he takes off his shirt, starts wildly doing karate chops and kicks.
This is the voiceover. This is the disclaimer. So they cut out they fade it to black, and there's basically this disclaimer that I read. At this point in the monologue, Martin begins a commentary on what he considers to be the decline in standards of feminine hygiene in this country. Although we at Saturday Night Live take no stand on the issue one way or another, network policy prevents us from rebroadcasting this portion of the show or its remarks. In summary, Martin feels, or felt at the time, that the failure of many young women to bathe thoroughly is a serious problem that demands our attention. He explores this problem, citing numerous examples from his personal experience, and ends by proposing several imaginative solutions.
Imaginative.
It was a frank and lively presentation and nearly cost us all our jobs. Now we return to the conclusion of Martin's monologue, which is the thing that I read previously. With karate
Yeah, with the
movements.
karate. That's the most bizarre part. He's shirtless, in great shape, by the way.
Yeah.
Just doing karate moves. Like,
because I think that was right before he passed out.
He was doing Runyon Canyon in a garbage bag suit, and he had like a stroke and passed out.
Yeah.
What kind of shape does he need to be in for Big Mama's house?
Oh man, he was in great. I think he even did it for the karate move.
Was it Big Mama's house or was it Blue Streak?
Might have been Blue Streak.
Oh, Blue Streak is good,
I just
though.
want to pretend it's
If it-
Big Mama's
Yeah,
house.
if it was for Blue Streak, it's a pass. I give him a pass.
My mom is a big Martin Lawrence fan. I saw Black Knight on the day it opened.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Blue Streak is. I'll go to bat for Blue Streak. Funny movie. Good Dave Chappelle performance.
Like the weird thing about Black Knight is that at the beginning he tells the woman that his name is Luke Skywalker, and then they just never bother to say his actual name. It's very strange film.
My other favorite monologue was Norm is. I'd say Norm and Will Ferrell are my two favorite SNL cast members.
Yeah.
Norm.
Oh God!
During his monologue, it comes back. So they invited back the year after he got fired from
I don't
Update.
even. Was it a? Yeah, I guess it would have been the next season. Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes. So last year, they say I'm not even funny to be on the show. And this year, they want me to host the show.
Yeah.
So one of two things happened. Either I learned how to be funny, or the show has gotten really bad. And then the audience is like booing him. So he's like, here's the plus side. I'm not funny. Here's the good news. The show blows. And then he said his plan was to leave right after his monologue.
Did they rerun that with a disclaimer?
No. They just show that one straight up.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite is like because his pauses, Norm's pauses are the most brilliant thing about his whole thing. Where he's like, which means that in the course of a year, I became so hilarious that the network had no choice but to bring me back. Yeah,
because he was fired. The official thing they said was that he wasn't funny.
Yeah. That's
like,
you know what the real deal was.
Yeah, OJ, of course.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
who they name dropped Don Olmeyer, the guy who fired Norm. They name dropped him in the first OJ. Have you guys been watching the OJ Simpson show?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, he goes in the white Bronco chase. He's like, call Don Olmeyer, and it's like, yes, shout out to the SNL heads out there.
Yeah. Jesus.
It takes a lot to get excised from the record of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. Well, and for those listening that might not know, this guy who was one of the heads at NBC because OJ worked for NBC Sports, and Norm Macdonald would just fucking week after week was hammering OJ.
Yeah.
This guy who was OJ's friend up at the network was like, get this motherfucker off my TV.
Yeah. He
tell this Canadian bastard to shut the fuck up and get off my TV.
Because I rewatched I rewatched those old updates on this torrent that I have. I'm just gonna keep name dropping this torrent,
dude. It's
and Norm is savage. He just keeps saying almost everyone. You think everyone's exaggerating, but every week he says, "Yeah, that's because it's a Mother's Day this week," and OJ said, I don't know if I want to be with the kids, and I think it's because he killed their mother. and then the one that apparently got him fired, according to Artie Lang, and this is Artie's story, but it's a great joke nevertheless, which is the day of the verdict. Don Olmeyer was like, look, the verdict's going to be weird. Just if there's one day when you tell Norm to rein it in, just please today.
Oh, yeah.
Just wait a day. Wait, next week, do jokes. But, this is going to be a media circus. And Norm goes on and he goes, the first joke is just a picture of OJ and he goes,
well, it is finally official. Murder is legal in the state of California.
I'm trying to remember all the Saturday Night Live things that are kind of stricken from the record. There's
Sinead O'Connor.
Sinead O'Connor
got
Fight
banned,
the Real Enemy.
Yeah.
Charlie Rocket dropping the F-bomb.
Ooh, what's that?
Charles Rocket. Yeah, he's a Weekend Update anchor. And he said he killed himself in the snow. That's true. He killed himself.
Dead?
He's dead. He killed himself in the snow. That's a really dark.
Well, like he just fell in the snow?
No, he slit his throat in the snow or something.
Holy shit!
That's
colorful.
Yeah, it
That's
is
amazing.
very wow, all this is blood. Wow, what do you call this? He's just talking to a dead body. What do you call this?
Here comes a coroner.
I call this Harry Carey in Japan.
What sort of things can you do in Eureka besides this?
I didn't know I didn't know blood was purple at first.
But there was Charles Rocket. There was Fear's performance.
Oh, yeah, because Belushi campaigned for that.
Yeah,
right?
Belushi was like, because their ratings were tanking, and they were like, Belushi, show up, and he only shows up for like 2 seconds in a sketch.
Yeah,
he's like, I'll show up for 2 seconds, being a guy in the bathroom in the sketch, as long as the musical guest is Fear.
Yeah,
and the people at NBC were just like, all right, whatever. They know who Fear was.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, let's hear a little bit of Fear. Yeah, so that's what we're doing.
The performance.
Oh, that's what they are.
Yeah, so the performance is
I'm afraid of them.
Is
should be.
They just crap on New York so much, and they crap on the show.
Hell yeah.
And then they invite all of these punks from New York and DC, which includes Henry Rollins and Ian MacKaye.
Yeah,
from
nice.
Minor Threat,
Hell
and later
yeah.
Fugazi, and you can hear Ian MacKaye just yell, "New York sucks!" sucks, in the background. And then they proceed to do $100,000 worth of damage.
Wow.
That got wiped out.
Lauren's like, no.
I think the Rage Against the Machine one get wiped out because of the upside down American flag when Steve Forbes was hosting. And then there was the
Elvis Costello.
Elvis Costello.
Which is so innocuous. You know, like, I think it was just the first one, and because it was just like he just wanted to set a precedent.
What did he
like,
do? Didn't he just switch the song?
He switched the song because they didn't want him to sing Radio.
Yeah,
They
but he
wanted him to sing.
publicly does it, right? Because they start playing something else.
He goes, we cannot play this song this evening. And then,
hello, Golf. We're doing a different one.
But my favorite is the Replacements when they got banned.
The Replacements.
The Replacements. Okay, so this one is classic. So the album Tim came out, right? And they were thinking, oh, these guys are going to be huge because at the time, all the major labels were signing up all the big like indie acts of the time. So
Husker Du,
REM.
Replacements were huge in college rock.
And they were signed to Sire, and Sire was just like, this is going to be our big savior. They were like, this is they're basically the cornerstones of the label that they projected was going to be Madonna and the Replacements, because the big boom with REM happened. The Replacements, as they tend to do, showed up to perform in no condition to perform. They were drunk and coked out of their minds. They couldn't play the songs. They forgot the lyrics. And at one point, Paul Westerberg forgets one of the lyrics of a song that he wrote and just went, fuck! And then the follow-up was them perform. I think Kiss Me on the Bus was first.
Yeah.
And they decided to improvise and freelance and sing the song Kiss Me on the Butt.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn.
Needless to say, they got banned from SNL, and Sire stopped publicizing their records quite as hard.
That's so cool.
Who was the host that time?
Oh, gosh. I know with Fear it was
Gilbert
Donald
Gottfried.
Polentz.
I was trying to think 85.
I'm the host. We got a great show. The Replacements are here.
Actually, do you remember when he was on SNL and he
for like
didn't
a
have
year.
that character yet?
Oh yeah, That's what's weird about Gilbert. I love Gilbert Gottfried, but it's like he just talks like this character he invented now.
Yeah,
like,
I can't
that's
stand
so weird.
people like that, but he's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, that happened to like Dice Clay too. Like if you listen to old Gilbert Gottfried, he's like, "Hi, I'm Gilbert Gottfried." And, and then he
I remember he was on there playing Bob Dylan in one episode. You remember
Yeah.
it was somebody? I think it might have been the guy Kung Fu, the guy from Kung Fu,
David Carradine.
Yeah, wasn't he the one? He was in the hospital being Woody Guthrie and what's his name? Gilbert Gottfried comes in as Bob Dylan. He's doing the whole Floyd the Barber.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's very much.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, it's so weird. It's like that happened to like Dice Clay. This is kind of a tangent, but it happened to like Dice Clay and Larry the Cable Guy. Like Gilbert Gottfried, when certain comedians adopt a character and then they just become that character forever.
Well,
like,
Larry the Cable Guy's particularly tragic because the people that love him are the very people he set out to make fun of.
yeah, same with Dice Clay. Like Dice Clay was originally he set out to be like a dumb Brooklyn, like a parody of like
he was
those
an
kind of
impressionist,
guys.
and he did like Jerry Lewis, and he did Elvis, and he did the Travolta from Grease.
Yeah, and that's the thing where the character was kind of that weird sort of Andy Kaufman transition from Foreign Man into Elvis. He did Jerry Lewis as the Nutty Professor.
Wow, yeah.
And then he transformed into John Travolta from Grease. Yeah. And he would do like the limericks and things like that.
Do you guys think that the character takes control of them, or do you think they just willingly are like, sure?
You live the gimmick, man.
Yeah.
I have no clue about any of this kind of shit. I just know it's annoying.
Wow, I didn't
Because
even
you
connect that thought.
What thought? The point is, if you watch him then,
I don't get it.
yeah, I don't get it. But if you watch him then, he is completely different than the Gilbert of the parrot from Aladdin and all that shit.
And he was just on. Yeah, he goes on like Howard Stern. He talks to himself, and he's like, "I'm Gilbert." You know, he's just like that.
Well, I feel bad for him though, because that's got to hurt his throat.
I know it's such a deep, bellowy
It's
voice.
such an annoying voice to get stuck in for the rest of your life.
Yeah, he has to do that 24/7. Just
Yeah, his voice was so aggravating when he hosted Up All Night on USA. I had to turn the sound down when he was on, as well as when the movies were on.
That could lead us perfectly into one of my favorite things on SNL, which was host Garth Brooks. Musical guest Chris Gaines.
That was
Fuck
the
yes.
best.
Oh my God.
You know, I always give Garth Brooks credit for that.
He was, dude. If you fucking
So much better than MC Hammer the host.
He's like
MC Hammer the musical.
Fortune
act,
favors
or-
the bold.
What about Reverend Prussia?
Or
Fortune does favor the bold.
or
Nothing ventured.
Dion's-
Death
nothing
does too.
or Deion Sanders host. Deion Sanders musical guest.
Oh no. That's what's cool about SNL is like I feel like it's a huge comedy show, but like the musical element, there's still a ton of musical history like on the show.
Oh,
just
tons.
for the
Well, that's
nature of it.
always
really
been kind
bad
of a big
musical
deal,
history.
though. Yeah, but it's always
Hey.
Weird juxtapositions, like Martin Lawrence on the Crash Test Dummies.
Yeah, my favorite is Donald Trump, and the first time he hosts it goes, "We have a great show. Toots and the Maytals are here."
It is weird, but it's always kind of been a timepiece in its own way of whatever's been popular at the time or whatever. Because
Yeah.
Crash Test Dummies, I have to admit, I forgot they fucking existed until tonight.
Yes, you completely do.
But because of them, if you say Martin Lawrence was the host, and then you say the musical guest, everybody goes, "Oh, was that 1994?" And it totally was.
That's the most 90s lineup of it. Like,
Martin Lawrence and Crash Test Dummies.
Yeah.
But yeah, that the Chris Gaines one, because to Garth's credit, like I think this might have been one of those like last sketches that would just be one that the writers like, but it's just all these cowboys sitting around a campfire and they're all like covered in dirt and they just look like garbage and they're all like,
I tell you, the trail takes it out of a man. At the end of the day, give me a skillet of fatback and a shot of red eye.
Yeah, I feel like I've been in that saddle since I was born. But you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, that's all a cowboy needs. A good horse, a Henry rifle, something to stick to his ribs.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear you. Tell you what, speaking as a cowboy, I don't know what I'd do without my wireless headset microphone.
to his credit, that shit was hilarious. The Chris Gaines thing is a goddamn disaster.
Crazy saga, that whole Chris Gaines thing.
That,
I always respected that. Of Join down to people, everybody good.
Maybe it's the Catholics, maybe it's the Protestants, maybe it's the government. I liked it because he didn't have to do it. He was so big at the time.
Yeah.
He ended up outselling himself, but it's something this guy felt that he somehow really wanted to do.
I think I love those like celebrity passion project bombs. They like make life worth living.
Oh,
like,
totally.
When someone who's on like clearly a very creative and talented person just gets so much when nobody tells them no, and even if the public rejects it, I mean, it's like I'm glad they exist. I'm glad it exists.
Oh, we've
like it makes
covered
life
all
not
of them.
boring. Yeah.
we actually did a if you're listening and new to the show, we did a celebrity albums episode where we went through we had
that's
Monica
great.
Scott and we listened to like the Deion Sanders
awesome.
album, all that shit, but we haven't hit
The
Chris
Joe
Gaines.
Pesci.
Because Chris Gaines is a real musician, or at least
Yeah.
Garth Brooks is. So it's a little different than when an actor tries
He has
to
a great
do it.
history to it. You should watch his behind the music. It's amazing.
I think
I don't care for his music, but he's not a bad guy.
at some point we just wanted. I think we should just do an entire
Chris Gaines episode. I'll come back.
I'm all for that.
Oh my god, dude! Chris Gaines has been struck from the record.
He's
It's
my favorite. Yeah, it's like taken down. There's like no trace of it.
I was
weird.
trying to-
From nowhere he came and to nowhere he goes, but he's a mystery man like that, like the Batman or something.
But that's actually a really good point that he really didn't have to do it. It was
no,
like-
he didn't.
It
He was
such a
so
Hail Mary.
successful.
It's like someone's up like 40 points at the Super Bowl.
was
It's like, let's
so
do a Hail
big.
Mary.
He was so big on the charts then that his own record kept Chris Gaines from doing better because he was in competition
Oh
with
wow,
himself.
I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
There's a lot of
Karaoke versions.
Yeah, karaoke versions. So I
God,
can-
that's bizarre. Because you used to be able to find this because it's him doing the Youngbloods. The come on, people now, smile on your brother. But there's
maybe
like,
it's the Pope.
but he's just doing a
There's
list
like,
of
yeah.
shit where he's going. Maybe it's the Protestants. Maybe it's the.
It's like a
it's the
socially
Republicans, maybe it's the
conscious
Democrats.
spoken word, almost rapish kind of thing.
Also, weird twist in the Chris Gaines things. Not everybody knows. Chris Gaines is supposed to be Australian. Did you know that part? So,
Wow.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think I remember hearing that.
Does he? I was wondering why he always said that's not a knife right before every song.
Yeah, and he was in a boy band. He was like in a boy band sort of thing early on in his career.
Yeah, what a story! I'm glad he did his homework and wrote a backstory.
Well, because there was supposed to be a movie. That was the idea.
Well, I mean, when you're sitting in the dugout at San Diego Padres spring training and you ain't hitting, you do something and you write the Chris Gaines story.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to bring this up. Another funny celebrity banning. Adrian Brody. Do you guys know about this one?
Oh,
when
God.
he's about to introduce, he takes out a Rasta hat and he goes, "Bruh, come on, Rude boy," or something like that.
Yeah, he just throws on like
It's-
just the fakest patois ever.
He
It's
really
just like-
deserved to get banned for that.
They banned him just for a bunch of Jamaican shit,
Well, Lorne Michaels is like a
and he's
stickler.
Jamaican fan of him or something.
Yeah, he was Jamaican fun of.
You're making me crazy.
I mean, the way they talk is kind of silly, so I think it's open to ridicule.
Yeah. The thing is, you're not allowed to do anything off script, really. He's just such a stickler. Damon Wayans got banned because he's like, it was before In Living Color, and he was on the cast, and he just like did like he just was having all these shit parts, like very very small parts.
Yeah.
And so he's like, God damn it! So he goes the way he goes out in his blaze of glory. He played like cop number 2, and his line was like, "You're under arrest." And he came in and like right before he went on stage, doing like a flamboyant gay like he did the man on film character basically, but just like super flamboyant. He's like, "You are under arrest, Mister," or something like
Blaine,
that.
yeah.
Just like off script completely. And Lauren's like, "He's fired."
So he runs that like the Vince McMahon of Saturday Night
No,
Live.
that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, it
because-
is like Vince McMahon kind of.
Well, because what you're saying is like, you have to stick very close to the script, unless you're Jimmy Fallon, and then you get to be the
get
Tonight
to
Show
laugh.
host.
Yeah.
You get to do whatever the fuck you want.
Jimmy Fallon
And
is
then-
my Roman Reigns.
No, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, because the way,
He's so adorable and quirky.
because the way Vince runs WWE is the same way, where it's like, it's very like, don't fuck
Don't
with
do it,
him
yeah.
unless you're Steve Austin or The Rock or whoever. Like he has people that he likes that he'll let go however far they want. But everybody
Norm
else is-
MacDonald, you're fired.
Yeah, and if a fucking somebody breaks out on their own, and they weren't necessarily supposed to, they'll get tamped back down.
Yeah.
So
like Chris Elliott.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Elliott is the Dean Ambrose of SNL.
So yeah, the other thing I learned from that torrent, I didn't even know Chris Elliott was on the show.
Yeah.
But that season, he's on it a lot. A really funny Chris Elliott one is his first sketch he did, which was they were auditioning new Bill Clintons, and it was just a bunch of the cast just like as Bill Clinton.
And then Tim Meadows goes, "I'm not going to get this, am I?"
Yeah. Adam Sandler just sings a Sandler song like, "Hey, I love Hillary."
Well, did you expect anything from him except the same shit over and over again?
Farley goes, I actually thought Sandler was good on SNL.
Farley
I didn't really like him much of anything.
So
Farley goes through the table, right?
Farley just goes, "I'm President Clinton," and then just like, he falls.
Does he fall through the desk?
He might have just fall through the side table, and then Spade just. I mean, it's just so funny.
It's basically everybody doing
themselves.
the criticism of them from the Rolling Stone article that
Exactly.
just come out.
Yeah. Which is crazy because if you listen to all of them, apparently the reporter loved that.
Yeah,
First of all, it's crazy because I feel like it's one of the more popular casts now that we look back on it.
Yeah,
Like
well,
a lot of people are like, "Oh man, that was
let's
the best."
explain what happened.
Yeah.
So there's this article comes out where basically
Called Saturday Night Dead with Farley on the cover, like looking sad.
Yeah.
With like a thing on his head. And it's like a 10-page just takedown of SNL. Like, the cast sucks, the ratings are low, it needs to get canceled
and
now.
Farley's
like,
a Republican.
Yeah,
I
or
remember that
something
was like a big sticking point. Was like, how can this Republican be against the establishment? And you're like, I mean, he's funny.
Yeah, he's
Fuck you.
funny and he's like
Yeah.
doesn't write for it.
Right,
He's just acts in it.
He's
Yeah.
just fucking. He's a funny dude
He's a
from Milwaukee.
Yeah, he's a Midwestern guy. Yeah, that's a weird bias. It's like, in comedy, like I'm a liberal, but it's like you can have a couple conservatives and like who cares?
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
good to have diverse points of view,
Right.
Especially if they're Farley and he's like a funny actor and he's clearly a dumb guy. Like he's not like
that's
he doesn't
his
say
whole
like
thing is he's an idiot.
Yeah, he's
so
like-
it's like who cares?
nobody's like listening to Chris Farley's political views. Like, oh yes, that guy. His whole thing is like, I'm an idiot. So basically, because of apparently he was this Rolling Stone writer was like an undercover cop almost. Like he laughed at everything. Like apparently he loved everybody on the show, and then he just publishes this hit piece on everybody, being like, "It's a boys' club. The cast is talentless. Everyone hates each other." And like,
it's New York. It's New York
I'm
magazine.
sorry.
What year was it?
95, I guess.
That makes sense though, because I remember in those days, every week people would watch it and they'd say it was so bad this week, and it's only years later when people all decided it was the greatest thing.
That's the
best
thing
cast of the
about
90s,
Saturday Night Live is that Saturday Night Live, usually everybody just hates the cast that's on there currently, correctly or incorrectly, obviously,
Right, yeah,
because
there's
there's
some
some
bad
casts
casts.
that like currently the cast now and the writing staff now is just, with the exception of like I like Leslie Jones a lot, and some of the other
I think
people.
Beck Bennett's pretty funny.
Who's the woman who plays Hillary Clinton?
Oh, Kate McKinnon. She's great.
She's the breakout.
She's
in my
so
opinion.
funny. Yeah, she's
her and-
awesome.
She's amazing.
Her Hillary is like is funnier than Amy Poehler's Hillary.
Because
it's
so
crazy.
different.
Yeah,
It's
it's,
so
just a
different.
crazy woman. It's so funny.
Right, because I loved how Amy Poehler's was the whole thing of this very put together person
Yeah.
who's like kind of
Yeah, a little
underhanded,
off. Yeah,
a
but
little
or a tense type A. Yeah.
Hers is just like a fucking insane demon.
Insane, like
literally like has like these crazy demon eyes.
I
too.
just can't. Yeah, I honestly think the cast, like, people start to like them around election years. Like Beck Bennett's Jeb Bush is so funny. It's like, take that back right now. And like,
do they get a lot of ratings on election years?
No,
Because it seems like whenever they do candidates, everybody always goes crazy.
That's when they're that's when they kind of come back.
A lot of writers come back just for like this guy Jim Downey, who's been with it since
seems
the
like
70s.
that's a big part of their thing now. Is when there's elections, everybody tunes in.
Everybody comes back in.
Well, because everyone likes, because they're like I think that they're probably the biggest comedy show, and politics is so funny.
And
to
it's
make fun
live
of.
too, so you can do it, and
Right.
it's not old yet.
Well, and it's also
that's exactly right. Yeah, it's so topical.
Well, and everybody comes back to see like, oh, what
David.
is their take on this current field? Like what people come just to see what they're gonna do with it. And I think this year it's been very impressive.
It's been great because the Republican debates are so funny.
But they it's that thing where everybody goes like, oh man, everybody's so nuts they barely need comedy.
Yeah.
Like, no, but this is like perfect for that.
And they found great takes, like Jay Farrow's Ben Carson is so funny. Like, he's just like, I'm just piping mad right now. Like, I'm so mad. And then they cut back to him and he's got on like those, he's asleep and he has on those glasses with like eyes painted on them.
Yeah.
Consult me, please. No, play everybody. So anyway, this guy Jim Downey comes back also on election years, and also there's just a history of SNL and politics too. Like Will Ferrell, they invented the word strategery on SNL, which is like crazy.
It's also it's that thing where you go back and you think about past elections and you can't help but like also consider, because that's the shit that sticks around more so than what the candidates actually do, is like, what did it do to the cultural kind of zeitgeist or whatever. And SNL, in the 70s,
Gerald Ford,
you had
down.
the Gerald Ford falling down thing was hilarious, and then you kind of got weaker into, because Aykroyd played Jimmy Carter, but he refused to shave his mustache, so he's just doing this like barely an impression of Jimmy Carter. But then when they started getting serious again was when they got Carvey.
Carvey was so good
with the Bush.
92 was kind of the renaissance of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think that was like the high point, because you had the Democratic primary stuff that they did, which is really underrated.
So funny.
But then they have the actual 92 election where Carvey's playing
Perot and Bush.
Perot. Because his Perot and Bush were huge culturally. You're right. Like the H.W. Bush, almost like Carvey invented a character for H.W. that stuck. Like that's not gonna do it.
That's what I was gonna say, was like something that they'd always talked about when George H.W. came in, was that they were like, this man is so boring you can't make fun of him. And Carvey was the guy who invented that impression.
I think that's like genius.
They said the exact, and I remember like taking note of this, and people might not remember a time when nobody had an Obama impression. But straight up, when Obama was candidate Obama, people were like, this guy, how are you gonna
make fun
of this dude? And then Fred Armisen out the fucking gate with it, and you're like, oh, that's how.
Exactly.
So it almost gives everybody a way to like make fun of these
It's
people.
a good gateway. Yeah, they usually are the first take on it in a lot of ways, because like as Mr. Goodnight was saying, they're live, so they have to come up with it that week, and then
so it absolutely affects the way people think of candidates.
Yeah, and like what's cool about SNL is they have such a great history, and people can come back whenever. Like I know Robert Smigel comes back all the time around election season,
amazing.
just to write shit. I knew Conan used to come back, like, because they were in the same building and just pitch shit.
And Sarah Palin will never ever live down. I can see Russia from my house. She'll
huge.
never live that down.
No.
I mean, she's gotten crazier and crazier and has become crazier than the character. Tina Fey was giving her the benefit of the doubt, as it turns out.
SNL helped kind of kill her a little bit, I think, because those sketches were so popular and just so decimated. And they just took, that was the best part about that, was they just took literal transcripts of what she was saying and then put it on the show, and then everyone was like, did she that was real that she said all that
and then my
crazy
favorite, when she turns, she's like, now I'm gonna do some fancy pageant walking, which is fancy pageant walking is always hilarious to me.
I think we should go around the table and each do favorite sketch, especially one that's under the radar.
Sure. We all love Wayne's World.
Favorite recurring character or sketch, and
that's good.
Favorite person on there, if you so choose.
Well, I said mine already, and you can check it out. I think you should be able to find it online pretty easily. Tales of Fraud and Malfeasance and Railroad Hiring Practices. Fucking amazing. Recurring sketch. I don't even know if you'd count this, but I was the biggest Deep Thoughts mark as a kid. That shit is still some of the funniest joke writing.
And now, Deep Thoughts. by Jack Handy.
I'd like to see a nude opera, because when they hit those high notes, I bet you can really see it in those genitals.
You know, just shit like that. And then what was the third thing?
Favorite person on the show.
Oh, man, it's, you know, I
So many
think
people.
they say this is about music. They say this about wrestling. It's like you know, when you were 15, what was happening? And when I was 15, it was Will Ferrell.
Yeah, man.
You know, Will Ferrell is, I believe, maybe one of the, like, you could just kind of watch him do whatever.
Totally,
and
yeah,
he's fucking,
absolutely.
he's just funny in the way he does stuff. But yeah, you know, there's definitely people listening right now who are like, yeah, fuck that. You know, we like it, you know, the earlier stuff. It's just, you know, whatever was happening when you were 15, that's probably going to be your favorite thing. So
Yeah,
my
totally.
cast was 99, 2000, that era. But that said, I also have a good, you know, appreciation for the whole kind of spectrum of it, with the exception of the 80s.
Yeah, but even in the 80s,
that was all right. They had all right people.
Eddie
come through.
Murphy was in the 80s.
Which is it was a two-man game in the 80s. It was
Yeah.
Murphy and Piscopo, and that's it.
Well, you remember we talked about Rocket or whatever? He was all right doing
Yeah,
the news
Charles
thing that he
Rocket,
was.
yeah.
They were all serviceable. It's just it didn't have the legacy it does now, and it didn't have the original cast anymore.
And Lorne wasn't there.
Yeah, it was Dick Ebersol running the fucker.
Yeah. And they kept the ship afloat. Like, Eddie Murphy is an amazing... He's maybe the biggest star ever to come out of the show.
He kind of carried it after the original cast left.
If it weren't for Eddie Murphy, he probably would have died in the 80s.
Well,
which is
and people,
nuts.
you know, people kind of give him, you know, shit because he had no career after it. But Joe Piscopo,
Yeah, Joe
it was a two-man game. It was Eddie and Joe Piscopo. that was the 80s.
For sure.
Pat, what's yours?
I thought I was going to end it.
Oh, okay.
No, but no. And I had a very my favorite cast member. I was going to be funny and say that my favorite cast member was Joe Piscopo, just to be funny.
Oh, I busted the joke.
I love it.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, hey.
I think he's funnier than a lot of people that was on that thing.
All right,
over
so
the years.
my favorite recurring sketch by far is Sprockets.
Oh, Sprockets.
yeah.
Sprockets is so amazing.
It's so good, dude.
And it's so funny, and the little elements that they have in it, just like the people they bring in to be dancers, the people that, you know, just the little asides, it just is absolutely amazing.
So absurd.
And
yeah.
my favorite one of the Sprockets episodes was the one where Kyle MacLachlan comes on and they do Germany's most disturbing home videos.
How do you go about compiling all of these videos?
Well, Dieter, all of our videos are sent in by ordinary Germans, like you and me. People with video cameras who happen to record the everyday occurrences of the grotesque and the profane.
I am so full of anticipation that my genitals have sucked up into my body cavity.
That sketch, especially the one that he's on, it is so funny.
Totally.
And it gets extra points for having Kraftwerk as its main theme music. One of my favorite one-off ones was when Tom Hanks hosted, and they did a sketch called Sabra Price is Right.
Oh, yeah. That's Sandler's first sketch.
Yeah, and it's so absolutely ridiculous. Like, Schmeigel is the best part of it.
Schmeigel is
because he's like the it's like a very New York sort of reference, but I guess there was a lot of like Israeli store owners that would sell knockoff stuff around Times Square.
Yeah.
So there were it was basically Price is Right with them, and they were selling all these knockoff things. And Schmeigel is the announcer of it, and he's just like, all right, Calvin Weeks, come on, let's go. Hurry up. You know, and he's announcing the thing. He's like, what's the next gift? Pinnacle satellite dish by Pinnacle. And it's just like rapid ears. And at the end of it, the thing that sells it is that at the end of it, it just turns into absolute madness because they're just like, you want to go disco? Disco, good, disco, good. And they do that for a pure minute.
Awesome.
And it goes back to Schmeigel doing it. And then like Tom Hanks starts dancing and like going nuts. And and then they go back, they cut the thing and you're like, okay, this is ridiculous. And then Carvey comes out as one of the guys from like one of their friends. And then it goes back to disco, good. It's
That's so funny.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Nice.
I mean, I don't get a single reference in it whatsoever because it's so inside baseball. Like if you live in New York, I guess you get it.
I love
but
those
it's
ones,
just
though,
like the disco good part. There's like a everybody in it is, and Chris Rock is in it, and he's fantastic as like
I forgot he was in it. You always forget about Rock.
Yeah, Nat X was always great. My favorite
where he beats Vanilla Ice with a baseball bat. Yeah. That one's particularly good.
My favorite regular cast member is, I would like to say, Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
Norm is just
he's my favorite.
He's
too,
so ridiculous. He's so funny, and he half-asses it so much. And by half-assing it, he makes it even more hilarious.
The thing about watching him,
and screw you, Rolling Stone, for naming him one of the worst character cast members.
That's the worst.
On.
He was good at impressions.
I know.
Like,
Adam Sandler was on the show, and you're complaining about him.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna, with Norm, and I've now you go back and watch some of his old like weekend updates, and I always like as a kid thought they were the funniest fucking thing. And, and then you watch him now, and especially now as a comic, you're like, he's kind of eating shit. And
but it's amazing.
No, it's amazing because he keeps going. He doesn't care. Like, because you realize that fucking crowd is all a bunch of goddamn tourists that don't understand the driest comedian of all time.
And I like Gilda Radner too. I mean, from the classic one, I think
totally.
Gilda Radner was absolutely amazing.
Set the bar for a lot of the female cast members.
Well, all the cast members, really, because I mean, it's like there's all these like well-known people that are from that original group, and she was the one that I think was the most talented. And she really set the bar high and was one of those people that's like, oh, top this dude.
I think SNL should get some props for launching more like women than like a lot of other shows, like in terms of comedy too. Like you have Amy Poehler, Kristen, like it's one of the only comedy shows where the woman can just become a star. Like, you know what I mean? Kristen Wiig.
Because
or at least before now. I think it's better now with like Amy Schumer and like Broad City and shit. But like,
right.
Yet, Gilda Radner, even Anna Gasteyer, Molly Shannon, Sherry O'Terry,
Ellen Cleghorn.
Ellen
Cleghorn was good. Yeah, she's underrated.
She was great, but unfortunately, her name is so fun to do in the
Ellen Cleghorn. Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, who are like two of the funniest people ever.
Yeah.
Sarah Silverman was on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Didn't really launch her, but she's. Is it my turn now?
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool. All right. What was the question again?
Favorite recurring sketch, favorite solo sketch, and then favorite cast member.
So I'm going to reveal myself as just a fanboy of the 90s as cast right now. But I think the best recurring sketch is probably Celebrity Jeopardy. I think that is so funny.
Yeah.
But my personal, like the one that tickles me is Goulet. Will Ferrell's Robert Goulet.
Yep.
I can watch that. I've watched it maybe 200 times, maybe since I was a kid. It's just the funniest. Goulet. I know one thing we can agree on. There's a little scene one that I beg people to look for, which is he is pitching new Robert Goulet cell phones, and his cell phones are just a human-sized head of himself, and he goes, it's got everything, BlackBerry, Blueberry, and the cell phone, you open up his head, and it's a full cord phone, and he goes, you can go on my website. Whoops, now I'm talking space talk.
Robert Goulet was funny as balls.
Yeah, he was.
Did you ever see the commercials he did for college hoops on ESPN?
Yeah.
Big Mondays here again. Lots of primo games on the tube, my friend.
Favorite, what was the other question?
Cast member.
Cast member.
For favorite one-off one.
I'd probably say Angry Boss, which I said earlier. I really like that one.
Have you seen Who Ate My Potato Chips?
I love that one.
Joe Raines turned me onto that one.
That's the best.
That one's
I love that one. I forgot about that one. Yeah,
Will
I'm going to
Forte
give it to that one. I'm going to give
being
it to that one.
so goddamn weird.
That's the best.
Janelda, what would you say if I told you that man, right there, is nothing but a common potato chip thief? Potato chip thief! What? You have no right. No right! I did not come here to have my reputation assassinated. Then you shouldn't have taken that potato chip. You don't take people's potato chips! But I did nothing of the sort. That is between you and your God. Now get the hell out of here. I'm not going nowhere until I'm an astronaut. Well, I got news for you. You are blacklisted. Blacklisted? Blacklisted! No! You will never be an astronaut. You don't take people's potato chips. You will never stroll the moon in a puffy suit. Don't say it. You will never drink tea. Take it back. You will never pee in the absence of gravity. You don't take people's potato chips. But I didn't take that chip. You, sir, are a liar. I am not a liar. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Will Forte is we didn't even tackle that cast, like Armisen, Sandberg, Weig. Like that was so recent, and it's a classic
Bill
cast,
Hader,
I think,
holy
already.
shit.
Yeah, Bill Hader, Sudeikis.
Yeah,
like wow, and John Mulaney writing for them with it's just like wow, what a crazy group of talented people.
Absolutely.
And favorite cast member, probably have to go Will Ferrell, but he's been said Norm is my hero. I mean, like in terms of Norm's probably my favorite comedian.
I've never seen somebody pop so hard the day that Norm Macdonald's son did an open mic set at the Unurban.
I was there.
And you were going completely bananas.
Yeah, I was fanboying out.
Yeah.
What? When did this happen?
He goes, he went up as Dylan, and I was like, because David Dorward told me, because he's also a huge Norm fan.
Yeah.
And he's like, Norm's son's here. And I was like, and I told everybody. I was just going
you
tweaking
fucked him.
out.
You fucked him.
I really did.
You were like just jumping. It was like he was going nuts. He's like, that's Dylan McDonald.
And it's funny, as if he'd gone up as Dylan McDonald, no one would have registered.
Yeah. Well, it's like Dice's son going up as.
I might have been on Adderall.
Yeah.
Might have.
It's hard to be sober at the Unurban.
But I'd say other great cast members. Sorry, Mr. Goodnight. I thought Sandler was great on the show. He was just so silly and stupid.
Yeah.
I agree on the stupid part. But everybody's got their own
stupid
opinion.
from a smart place.
Yeah.
I think Sandberg was really, really strong and really made it a YouTube hit too. And from the original cast, I think Dan Aykroyd is just so fucking funny.
Oh man,
he was really good on that show.
Yeah, he's so
It's kind of
underrated.
sad, like that he's not a lot more funny now. It's kind of like Dan Aykroyd's. Sorry, Dan Aykroyd, if you're listening, because I give you props when it comes to SNL, but it's almost like if you look at a picture of Dan Aykroyd, Dan Aykroyd's funniness is inversely proportional to the size of his butt, and as he got a bigger butt, he became less funny.
What about you? Good night.
Well, I'll tell you this. My favorite sketch of all time is the easiest one. Bill Murray sings the Star Wars theme.
No, that's the funniest.
Let's go out with something really hot for these folks. A big hit out of 77. Star Wars. Nothing but Star Wars. Give me the Star Wars. Don't let them end.
Holy
Star Wars. He brought it back in the 40th, where he sang Jaws.
Did he?
See that? Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
It's so funny. He goes, Jaws, get away from me, Jaws.
Star Wars.
What the hell was it?
And hey, Darth Vader with that scary mask. Did he scare you as much as he scared me?
That was so fucking. But if they were to Bar Wars,
Please let these Star Wars stay.
whenever he would do that, it cracked me the fuck up. And I used to make up dirty lyrics to it.
Yeah.
I like it. I tell you though, when we talk about recurrent sketches or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Coneheads, but I want to. I don't know if this counts, but do you remember the early ones had these commercials? The one I was going to mention was, do you remember Quarry?
Like swimming holes and brimming bowls of cereal made from stone.
That's
and the
great.
girls that they're eating, and it's making all the noise. I like Quarry because it's crunchy.
Little chocolate donuts. That one was pretty funny too.
It's Oops, I Crap My Pants. Always a classic.
Wasn't it a Britney Spears song?
Oh, Mike Myers is also a favorite cast member of mine.
Oh,
maybe
fuck
top
yeah.
5. Yeah, I think Mike Myers was great on SNL. And, he as a kid, I loved him so much.
Yeah.
His Judge Ito, there's a great Weekend Update with him and Norm, where he goes out and he's like, Judge Ito, people have been criticizing the fact that you're a judge and you're going out in like the press and talking. And he's like, well, the thing about that, Norm, is I'm a star, baby. And he just like brings out 2 strippers and he starts smoking. He's like, you can't keep Ito down.
I like
Which is sort of the direction they're taking the character on the People versus O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, no, and then I liked with the random Weekend Update people. I liked Tracy Morgan as Dominican Lou.
Oh Christ! I didn't even talk about Brian Fellows being the fucking
Brian
funniest.
Fellows is the best.
God damn it! This is the problem when you go down a rabbit hole of this. There's so many.
Because there's 42 years of this stuff.
I know.
Yeah, 42 years of it. And the only one I've seen regularly is the original cast.
Well, you can do a
but
whole-
I've caught it over the years because it's been on so long.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've seen random episodes.
Who's your favorite
most
person on it?
I'd probably like Bill Murray or someone like
Bill
that.
Murray was good.
I don't think he counted as a full cast member, but I always kind of enjoyed Guido Sarducci when he was on there. Too.
Wow. That's so obscure.
That is?
Well, if you want to see Guido Sarducci,
this is a generational thing because I think Saturday Night Live. I think like Bill Murray, Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, Guido Sarducci, Mr. Bill,
Steve Martin,
stuff. Yeah, stuff like that.
Steve Martin, he hosted a lot. He was never a cat. People think he's a cast member.
He did that bitch in King Tut. Born in Arizona, moved to Babylonia, funky Tut.
Dancing by the Nile. Disco Tut. The ladies love this style. Boss Tut. Rockin' for a mile. Rockin' Tut. He ate a crocodile. He gave his life for tourism.
Robbie, where can people find you on the internet, sir?
I'm at Robbie Goodwin on Twitter, on Facebook, Robbie Goodwin, RobbieGoodwin.com. Just bought the domain, so please.
Word?
Please go. I'm
that
spending money on this.
GoDaddy.com. Yes.
Yeah, so you can follow us on Facebook, Facebook.com/TheGoodsPod. We're on Twitter at TheGoodsPod. Rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. Give us a review and tell your friends. That's how we spread the word about the show. Song of the week this week comes from a band called the Tom Collins. This is from a record they put out back in 2005. The record is called Daylight Tonight, and the song is called Back of Your Mind. And we'll see you next week.
just as long as you keep it in the back of your mind.
Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter at DJ Smiles.